Going back to the book of Ruth, we see the great difference between chapter 1, a tragedy, and the end of the book, when God made sense of a tragedy. The same we find in the story of Joseph in the Old Testament. Joseph had many reasons to feel totally deprived in life. Also, he had experienced many losses. And yet, as he looked back in Genesis chapter 45 and Genesis 50, he says to his brothers, you intended to harm me, but God meant it for good. God meant it for good. God is a wonderful translator. He transforms. He's able to write a different story even with our mistakes. We are feeble. We are jars of clay, but God is able to make a story with sense from our mistakes. I remember the Argentinian writer Borges said once about the great Czech writer Kafka. Borges said, "The mastery of Kafka, and that which I admire most in him, is his ability to transform tragedies into fables." A fable is a story with a purpose, a story that makes sense. And as I read that quotation from Borges, I immediately thought, oh, my God is a magnified, a wonderful Kafka. Because God is able to transform these tragedies into stories with sense. We see this with Ruth and Naomi. We see this in Joseph's life. We see this in our own life. God is able to transform our own tragedies into stories, lives with sense.